Hello everybody, my name is Max, the creator of Lineball Pool, and welcome to the first Thursday evening edition of Lineball. We've recently just recorded the Vanguard Invitational. You're going to see it on the channel really soon. Cannot wait to share all the amazing games we had. It was such an epic competition, and we've got to share with you how the competition's played, all the group stage matches, the knockout games, so subscribe to check out our first tournament. But today we're going to explore something that came following the tournament. We have a group chat with all of the different players in it. One of the players, Tim Greenfield, suggested, why don't we build a rack for Lineball, so that instead of having to sort of spot the balls yourself, there could be a rack like you have with the triangle on a 8-ball table or the diamond shape on a 9-ball table. So my dad, who played in the tournament, he does a lot of 3D design work. His name's Jon, and in this video he's going to be doing the first part, explaining through this 3D design he's doing for the rack for Lineball. If you don't know all the rules to Lineball, head back on the channel, watch the third ever video we did. It'll explain how to play, so you understand why we're making the rack that we're building and how he's doing it, and then come back to this video and you should have a really good idea of what Jon is doing. So let's hand over to Jon and learn more about the design.
So today is the day that we designed the prototype, or the first prototype of the Lineball rack. So let's design it together. Now, to adhere to the sustainability rules, I'm going to prototype this in its smallest possible form, which is just one ball rack, so that we reduce material wastage. So first thing I'm going to do is create a ball. We'll max out the steps so it's as smooth as possible. Bring in some guides, and it's 51 by 51. By 51. So that gives us a concept of scale. What I'm actually going to do for the actual ball itself, because I want to print one, I'm going to do it slightly differently. I'm going to do it in 2 halves, because printing this shape will mean we end up with a flat on it, so I'm going to print it in 2 halves. So we need 25.5 and 51 and 51. I'll duplicate that, and I'll just hold that off the side. So I'm going to print 2 of those, stick them together, and that gives us our ball. Now for the actual rack, I'm going to do something slightly different because we need a bit of clearance. So I'm going to give the pocket 1mm clearance all round, I think, so there's a slight bit of play in it. So we're going to make the ball 52. So 52, and then that we will turn from a solid to a cutter. So there's our cutter. What we're going to do is bring out the beginnings of the rack. We'll make that 50 for argument's sake, because it might as well be anything. I don't think it needs to be more than, say, 20mm high maybe. No, it's probably too high. Let's make it 15. And we'll make it 100 wide, just to give us a bit of play. Then what my thought process was we really need to set this back into the pocket like a proportion of the sort of a proportion of the ball, so that it's locating it nice and neatly, but at the same time when the rack is pulled back it will clear perfectly. So a quarter of the distance, if we just zero this out on the actual rack itself, so it's zeroed out, and then what have we got there? 31. So if we went, just for argument's sake, 25, just to get some. Oops, sorry, got the wrong dimension there. What we're looking at here. Sorry, minus 25. Okay, that in theory roughly half plus that little bit of clearance. So I think for the first test run, I'm going to run with this. Let's just have a look. So it's perfectly on the base layer. Perfectly on that base layer there. It's a half cut. As that is drawn away, I would imagine that shouldn't tip the ball too severely, but we will find out because this is trial and error. Now we want to centre that really, so if we switch to centres, we'll set that to 0, sorry 20, so that's there. We'll just come in here like so, so that's minus 50, and I should centre this, that's 50, so that needs to be 50. No, minus 50. So that's centered on there. So what we'll do now, we'll just save that and dupe it so that we can come back to that at a later date. We'll now cut that. That gives that pocket. Right, so that's test number 1. I need to print the ball at the same time. So I'll just bring that in and we'll do that as a single print run. Group that lot and export. Now what I want to do, STR, sorry, that's what I want. Now I may need to switch windows with the screen recorder because this is now going to open in Prusa Slicer, which you guys might want to take a look at. There we go. Now my guess thinking about this is that there may well be way too much surface contact on this area of the ball, so when it pulls away it may try to kind of roll it roll the ball forwards. If that's the case but it holds the ball nice and squarely, then the idea is I'll probably add just a couple of tiny dimples, one to the back and one at about maybe 15 degrees on each of these faces, so that there's actually no surface contact at all. It's only point contact in 3 places. Therefore there should be virtually no friction. It should clear a little bit better, maybe. So anyway, this is the first test, and we'll see where we end up with this. I'd imagine we'll go through 3 or 4 iterations to get it right. So we're going to put this into draft mode to reduce material consumption. Infill we're going to take right down, so we probably don't need to infill more than 10%. Again, saving material. Now slice that. Sorry, select and slice. Right, so there's our slice. The 0.3 mil is going to give us a bit of a flat spot on here. We can sand that down if necessary. So let's just have a look at what that looks like as a run through. There's hardly any material in there. We're not going to use any material for this tool. Should be pretty quick. And on my machine set to stealth mode, it's going to take 2 hours and 18 minutes to achieve that. So that's the end of this. I'll do a little video clip of the printer in operation actually producing this, which you might like to see, and then we'll do some tests tonight and see what the start point is. I'm about 30% that it will work in its current design, because I think there's too much surface area. I think what I'll have to do is place a cut into the base here, so there's a 0 contact point here, and as I say, a couple of tiny 3 tiny dimples here and here, so there's no surface contact, but obviously those dimples will be held perfectly in 3-dimensional space. And the mass of the ball, hopefully, you know, this won't be very heavy, but the mass of the real ball should work in our favour, and time will tell. So I'll export that, set it up for print, and you guys can see that later. Cheers.